Yes. Okay. All right. I will ask our Government Affairs Director, Mr. Greg Astorian, to give us some legislative update from CAR. Greg, please go ahead.
So what's up is a lot of the same, President Bunyadi. And as you aptly put, CAR is very, very active. And we've talked about this thing that, in fact, at our LGLR meetings, we brought this up with, and I believe in one of the meetings with President-elect Eric Toro, we brought this the idea of making 20% of the allotment go towards homeownership as opposed to apartments and so forth with Senator Portantino. Now, at the time, Senator Portantino told us that constitutionally we cannot dictate who develops what type of housing. I am very, very glad that CAR is on track to help us get to that 20% threshold. That means more condominiums versus more apartments. That means more homes versus more rental. And that is crucial if we want to pull ourselves out of this debacle in state of California with dearth of housing. And we know as well as you do that ownership housing is what makes all of the difference for several reasons. Number one, to allow this elusive intergenerational transfer of wealth through one of the mechanisms that has been the most successful in the history of democracy in the United States. That's property ownership, not rental. We know very well that tenants, when surveyed by CAR, 80% of them tell us that they want to become they want to become homeowners. They want to become stop renting and owning properties. And this is why this 20%, while a modest proposal, is of utmost importance. Least we forget, in our Black and brown communities, the home ownership gap between the whites and Blacks and browns is at about a rate of 30% difference. And now we know, this is why we got excited about the UD or the underwriting, desktop underwriting with Fannie Mae, that now they are considering rental that you paid or the tenant has paid. This is for your first time buyers for the past 12 months. It will count towards their credit. It will count towards them being helped towards home ownership. That's a very, very strong and very good step. That coupled with the 20%, if we get to that point, coupled with the issue that we are doing the work on local levels, right? For example, President Bunyadi, starting next week or so, the land use element of the city of Glendale and housing element is going to be available, and the staff will seek input from our realtors. I do have a quick guide on that for those of you that care to make your voices heard in it. But we actively, as Glendale Association of Realtors, we will be participating in those conversations. We will be telling this city that, hey, out of the 13,000 allotted or required RHNA, Regional Housing Need Assessment, that has been assigned to the city of Glendale, we need to have 20% of it go towards what? Homeownership. In other words, create incentives. Look, we help you pass, City of Glendale, a $32 million tax increase years back, with the hope that part of that money can be used, giving it back to the constituents that approved that, with the hope of making them homeowners. So these are all, in a nutshell, the stuff that we are working on and we are trying very, very hard to achieve. Today, President Bunyadi, I will be presenting the defeat of rent registry and how we were able to defeat it in the city of Glendale on a state level to local government forum. And of course, David has the link, and I'm sure that he will post it for any one of you that want to attend that meeting. It's going to be probably about 400 or 500 people there. And Sure enough, the city of Glendale is being noticed. City of Glendale is being noticed because of Glendale AOR, because of your realtors, because you take pride in participating in community activities as well as this home ownership issue. Again, let's not forget that even if, for me, I can use myself as an example, as a first generation immigrant in this great country of ours, had it not been for property ownership, had it not been for home ownership, I could not have stood here with a straight face and tell you that yes, there is a wealth, however minor or major, in the Astorian family, that intergenerational wealth will be transferred to my children, and they will do the same as we go along. With that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Greg. Carmen, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yes, Greg, anywhere in the proposal to City of Glendale, the conversion of current apartment buildings to condominiums and allocation for the cost that would involve for that conversion and assistance from the city. Any thoughts about that?
That's one of the areas that we will bring up, but do keep this in mind, that under SB9, for example, now these are overtures that I'm sharing with you, Carmen, that if we touch a housing that is being rented out to the folks that are at most risk, right? The tenants that are at most risk, we may run into a headwind. We may run into obstacles, because you can't take housing away from one segment of the population to turn it into housing for another segment of the population. At least that's my assessment. However, the fact that some apartment buildings stand will stand the issue and be able to be converted is there. Which ones and how, we don't know yet. But that's certainly something that you can bring up at the discussions and land use and housing element for the city of Glendale. It's open to the public, and all you need to do is to go to the website and register for it so that you can be notified, for the community events.
Thank you, Greg. Any other questions or comments from to Greg, please?
I do. Greg, yesterday, agenda item 25 was passed. I didn't quite pick up that whole thing on this county with Catherine Barger proposing the agenda item 25. Can you clarify that?
No, I can't.
Okay.
Sorry about that. And that's because I wasn't following it yesterday. That's on the agenda for my work to be able to go in it in detail, and I'll be able to give you some color on it perhaps next week.
Okay.
Now, you're not referring to the extension of the moratorium or anything.
Correct.
Like that, right?
Correct.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes. Item
Okay.
21 passed, but she abstained, but then she put in agenda item 25, which made it sound like there's more equitable changes for property owners, both commercial and residential.
Yeah, and I think next week sometime, if I'm allowed, there is a portion. Look, this eviction moratorium is not going to end the way that we think it's going to end by September 30th. There is a lot of stuff that will continue on, and I'd like to bring everybody up to date on that next week, because it will take more than a 5-minute conversation. And my presentations to you has been on the average between 5 and 7 minutes. I'll try and do it at that time, but and I'll update you on Supervisor Barger's item, agenda item number 25. Ira may know a little bit about this. Ira follows this stuff too.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna wait until next week to get a full report on that, because I don't want to take too much of our time. keep this meeting, 30 to 45 minutes long. So, Ira, if you don't mind, we'll do that presentation next week.
That's fine, but I had no information on it anyway.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Great. Any other questions or comments from Greg, please? All right. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Greg, for all the information that you guys brought to the table. I really appreciate that. Okay. Now, I would like to